Harvard and a bunch of other elite colleges are responding to Trump's election in the most pathetic way imaginable. I'm Brad Polumbo, and welcome back to the Brad vs. Everyone podcast, my daily show where I take on the craziest ideas from across the internet and across our politics. On today's episode, we're going to break down the crazy campus response to Trump's election, which is going about as well as you would expect, in particular at Harvard. So guys, without further ado, Harvard is responding to the election in the most pathetic way I've ever seen. As the Harvard Crimson reports, Harvard professors are canceling classes as students feel blue after Trump's win. Students awoke to a somber campus following Donald Trump's re-election to the presidency early Wednesday morning, with one saying, "My heart dropped a little bit." The story opens with an anecdote about how the college dean, Rakesh Khurana, met with students over breakfast and told them to let yourself feel a bunch of emotions about how this is going to impact us in the future and listen to other people and how they feel about it too. I wonder if that includes the students who voted for Trump and are feeling positive right now. Something tells me it probably doesn't, but hey, maybe I'm wrong. Now here's where things get truly pathetic. A number of professors at this elite university canceled their classes or made them optional or did other ridiculous things in response to an election result that hurts their fees. As the Crimson reports, some professors also encouraged students to process in the aftermath of the election, adjusting course requirements in kind. Courses such as Sociology 1156, Statistics for Social Sciences, and Applied Math, Solving and Optimizing, as well as general education courses like the Ancient Greek Hero and Popular Culture in Modern China, among them, canceled their Wednesday classes, made attendance optional, or extended assignment deadlines. Meanwhile, all across the country, actual adults went to their grown-up jobs like big boys, and even if they weren't happy with how the election went about their responsibilities like normal. Now, thanks to the Crimson, we even get to look at some of the emails the professors sent out. Economics lecturer Maxim Boyoko wrote in a Wednesday email to students that the course's typical in-class quizzes would be optional. As we recover from the eventful election night and process the implications of Trump's victory, please know that class will proceed as usual today, except that classroom quizzes will not be for credit. Feel free to take time off if needed. I'm sorry, but if you need to take time off because an election didn't go your way, you're so distraught, you're incapable of going about your normal life or going to class and taking an attendance quiz, not exactly a final exam, then you don't belong at America's most elite colleges. You belong in remedial therapy because you lack the emotional function and regulation of an adult. Meanwhile, physics professor Jennifer Hoffman wrote in an email to physics students and faculty that her office would be a space to process the election. Many in our community are sleep deprived, again grieving for glass ceilings that weren't shattered, fearful for the future, or embarrassed to face our international colleagues, she wrote. I stress-baked several pans of lemon bars to share. Stress-baked? Really? I do love lemon bars though. Oh. Unsurprisingly, some students took advantage of this and didn't go to classes that were made optional or opted out of the different assignments that were made optional, all because of the election. Harvard student Jack Kelly told the newspaper he was tempted to say no to class today because he had some professors that were like, if you need to not come to class, that's understandable. Jack added that this definitely takes a toll on people's mental well-being. Now, some of the smart people I follow on Twitter had some incisive commentary on this development. Fire's Alex Morey wrote, "What are we doing here, guys? College is supposed to get students ready for the real world, model how we get back to work." And my friend Billy Binion of Reason wrote, "This is pitiful. Harvard is supposed to attract the best and brightest. The vast majority of society does not get to hit pause on life when something doesn't go their way." Amen to that. But unfortunately, guys, it was not just Harvard that pulled this kind of ridiculous stunt and pathetic pandering and indulgences after the election result. It was many of Americans' elite colleges. As the College Fix reports, classes at Harvard, Penn, Columbia, Swarthmore, and many others were canceled over Trump's win, including one example right in my own backyard, Michigan State University, where one professor sent out this email that is just so deliciously absurd. Michigan State University professor Shagla Bora said in a Wednesday memo to students, "I am canceling class today to grieve the presidential election results. As a queer, immigrant woman of color, I cannot, in good conscience, go on about my day like everything is all right." She continued, "This is a major historical event that we are witnessing. I hope you take this time to take care of yourself." I'm sorry, but she should be fired or at least professionally sanctioned. If you can't do your job because you're so distraught over an election result, you don't have the mental fortitude to be a teacher or professor at America's elite institutions, at least not in a serious world that takes academia seriously and doesn't allow it to transform into a pathetic joke. But that's what this is. It's a pathetic joke. These universities charge people tens and tens of thousands of dollars and somehow are still considered elite. Yet they close down and make things optional and act like it's an adult daycare just because a Republican wins an election. I mean, the hypocrisy and the bias and the double standard here is crazy. Do you think they would have done any of this if Harris had won? For the Trump students who would have been unhappy with the result? No, they would have been expected to get out of bed the next day and go about their life like adults. And you know what? That'd be fair. That'd be a fair expectation. But there's a total double standard here. And now that Trump wins, all these people are allowed to be triggered and sob into their pillow all day instead of being expected to go to class like adults. And when classes are canceled, that screws over the many students who I'm sure aren't mental toddlers, who do want to go get their money's worth and these thousands of dollars they're paying per course actually be taught. But no, so that's why I think it's so unacceptable for professors. Making stuff optional is one thing. It is pathetic, right? But it's one thing. Canceling classes over this is scamming students who are paying thousands of dollars to learn from you because you don't feel like doing your job because your fee-fees are hurt. That's not just pathetic, it's wildly unprofessional. I mean, it just seems increasingly difficult to deny that America's elite institutions of higher education are becoming a joke. They're still leading the world in some forms of recognition and prestige, but I just don't think that's going to continue for very long when this kind of social rot is so deeply embedded into these institutions and is corroding it from within. They're also doing their students a disservice because the real world doesn't work like this. You don't get to just not go to work because you don't feel like it because your feelings are hurt. In fact, you probably have a limited number of sick days and a very limited amount of vacation time, depending what socioeconomic sphere you're in or what kind of line of work. Your kids that you have to take care of, your obligations, your responsibilities don't go away because you're feeling emotional that day. Like, you are not adequately preparing college students for the real world whatsoever with this kind of nonsense, which is what colleges are supposed to do, but they're so increasingly detached from that these days. It's really remarkable and really concerning. So on one hand, I want to laugh at these people and just make fun of them and laugh at this like it's another ridiculous story from college campuses and academia, because it is, and it is funny. It is amusing. But it's also actually a real problem with real consequences that we can and should be concerned about, especially when this is happening at public universities that are taxpayer funded. Then we should actually be demanding that state legislatures put in place policies prohibiting professors from doing this kind of thing, from ripping off their students and coddling and infantilizing them at the same time, because you should not be allowed to pull that crap on the taxpayer's dime. But what do you guys think? Do you still respect Harvard, or do you agree with me that it's kind of becoming a joke at this point? Let me know in the comments below, and do hit that like button while you're at it. Remember, guys, I do take the time to read the comments, and I pick a few to respond to in every episode, so please do leave your thoughts below, and if you leave your comment with a super chat or a super thanks, I'll definitely respond to it on tomorrow's show. And now, it's time for Brad versus TikTok, my daily segment where I take on the craziest ideas from the Clock app.
Pronoun of the day is slugs.
Today, this woke white woman is absolutely losing it online over the Trump election. Her video is simply entitled, "I'm Crashing Out," and honestly, points for accuracy.
White women are the problem, and I failed to realize that.
Oh.
Now I'm just realizing how many friends I had, and that's on me, who supported this man. If you are looking for who to unfollow or who to block or cut off, go to pages like Bryce Hall, go to pages like The Orange Man, see who is commenting and reposting. I went to their pages and saw many of my white friends, my white female friends, commenting in support of this man.
right off the bat, the identitarianism, this essentialism, like white women, white people, oh my God, how dare they vote this way, is really off-putting. Like, it's not giving progressive, my dear. It's giving woke racist. And maybe your friends didn't feel comfortable telling you or making it clear to you that they support Trump because you come off as toxic and close-minded.
If you think that I'm not going to stop with you for being on that side, I don't know what you're talking about. It could not be more personal.
Well, that seems like a healthy relationship to have to politics. And I love how she's acting like being in her life is this ultimate prize that just everyone in the world is coveting. Like, I'm sure you're in some ways a lovely person, but you're not God's gift to the earth, okay? It's giving Delulu, it's giving delusions of grandeur, like, calm down.
And as a white woman, it is on me that I thought that that wasn't the case. My friends who have been silent during all of this, you're on my shit list too.
I love this. You're not even allowed to not speak. So if you comment and repost, that's bad. But if you don't speak about politics, maybe if you have a little bit of intellectual humility and you don't assume that because you're a popular influencer or whatever, you know all about economics and politics and global affairs, then you must also be problematic and evil and bigoted. It really is cultish. They expect you to adhere to allegiance to their ideology and their side at all costs, and you're not even allowed to be silent or they'll cancel you for that. That is insane, my dear. That is absolutely wild.
Do not invite me to Pilates. Do not invite me to parties. We're not getting coffee. We're not getting tea. You. I see you. We are not friends. How the would you think that we'd be friends after this?
Wow. Well, I'm sure these people are going to be devastated at the loss of such a positive and beautiful and uplifting presence in their life.
Especially the ones who follow my content. That's the craziest thing for me. Why would you even want to be my friend, following my content? What do we have in common?
I mean, I follow this creator because I follow lots of people from different perspectives because I have an open mind. I follow Trump and I follow Bernie Sanders. I mean, I actually want to know what people are saying, even if I don't agree with it all the time. That's a reason a lot of people might follow you, is they want to hear your perspective. I know that's an alien concept to you because you seem remarkably closed off to other people and having different opinions, but not everybody approaches the world in that much of a closed-minded, tunnel vision way. And thank God for that.
Oh, wait, the answer has already been answered in my head. We are both white, conventionally attractive women. And those kind of women, that's all they want to align with. That's where their value stands. They just want more white, conventionally attractive friends, regardless of what their political beliefs are.
I don't think most white women are just seeking to only have other white women friends. I think you have this totalizing view of race and identity and gender as like the defining aspect of everyone's lives and all of society. Most people don't share that view. Most people are actually normal. So you're a little off base here, for sure.
I don't. Fuck you.
Oh.
I'm looking at all of you bitches sideways. Black women, I apologize.
Oh my God. The woke white savior has entered the chat. The white knight. She's apologizing. Guys, I'm one of the good white people. I apologize for all my evil, toxic white brethren. Oh my gosh, they're just the worst. Please, pick me. I'm one of the good ones. Yikes. Also, like, black women are not some nebulous collective. They're not some homogenous group. Some of them voted for Trump. Not all of them agree with your politics by default. You are actually flattening and totalizing them as a group and depriving them of their individuality when you speak to them as some sort of collective this way. Like, that is not normal.
I apologize. I did not realize that it was that bad. I didn't. That's my ignorance. That's on me. I should have read their silence. I should have noticed that. And I should have made an opinion accordingly. I didn't do that. But now I am. If you think that you can support that man and be my friend, absolutely not.
Again, she's acting like being friends with her is like winning the lottery. Like, it is the biggest prize on the entire globe. If anything, you're depriving yourself of very meaningful, positive relationships you could have with other people who just happen to see the world in a slightly different perspective than you or have different political values. You're the one losing from making this decision to silo yourself off and cut off people with different views more than anyone else. It's not them losing the great gift in their life of your presence. It's you cutting yourself off and isolating yourself into an echo chamber. You're only going to become more extreme and more radical and more isolated than you already are. That's sad and concerning. But again, the biggest loser here is you, not them. But got to give this woman credit for something. She's got a lot of confidence in herself, shall we say. So she sees it a little bit differently.
And any black woman who looks at me sideways because I'm a white woman, I get it.
Did you just condone racial profiling? A black woman looking at you sideways because you're a white woman and like 50% of white women voted for Trump. That is literally definitionally racial profiling. And you're saying, I get it, black queens, you can be racist if you want, LOL, and make assumptions about white women just because of their demographics. Like, it's giving woke stop and frisk. But please, keep telling me how progressive you are. Like,
I get it. It's me too. It's me too. Just be done, be done with all of them. If you want to still the ones that are vocal, awesome, because that's going to be me. But be done with all of them.
She really just suggested that people should be done with white women as an entire demographic group. Just cut them all off because of the actions of voting for Trump of a majority, but not even like close to all of them. That's literally racism. That's literally discrimination. Do you hear yourself?
Any content creators that you guys follow who are silent right now, they voted for him. If you know any white women who never have any black women around them, never have any women of color around them, only hang out with other white women and gays, they support him. If they commonly post videos and pictures with their friends and they don't have any friends that are black women, they support him.
This stuff is actually sad. Like, do we need to do a wellness check on these people? Because they're spiraling, or as her caption correctly noted, crashing out. This isn't normal. This isn't a healthy way to respond to losing an election. To flagellate yourself in front of a woke mob online and beg for their forgiveness, to advocate for racial profiling and discrimination of your own demographic, to encourage people to cut off their friends and family and meaningful, beautiful relationships they might have over who people check off at the ballot box, and to make wild hypotheses with no basis in reality about who people voted for based on who's in their photos online. And yet, somehow, some people in the comment section are just eating it up. One person wrote, "Baby, I've been cleaning house." And that comment got 1,300 likes. Another person said, "I ended a 35-year best friendship. Nothing in common anymore." Another person wrote, "Guys, I had to break up with like 3 boyfriends." Oh? Thank you so much for speaking out. I'm doing this in my own life, and having someone on social media say this has made me feel safer and stronger. I mean, you're actually kind of evil for this. Like, using your platform and power as an influencer to encourage people to cut off their friends and family. You are actively making people's lives worse, spreading intolerance, and fueling the division that's tearing our country apart. All while being racist, arrogant, and obnoxious. Other than that, though, you're doing amazing, sweetie. What did you guys think of that wild TikTok video? Please do let me know in the comments below, and do hit that like button while you're at it to reward my suffering through this sheer stupidity and nonsense. And now I'll wrap up today's show by reading a few of your comments from the last couple of episodes. One person says, "The man of God has clearly forgotten his place. It's not up to a mortal man to pass judgment on the immortal soul. He is more of a sinner than any of those Trump supporters he is demonizing. He's no better than the preachers that say anyone who isn't a Christian is going to hell." Yeah, I don't know much, like I said, about Christianity, but that was my understanding as well, that pastors or preachers aren't supposed to be deciding who's going to heaven or hell like that. Like, I thought that was up to God, but okay. Another person says, "I had a TikToker on my For You page that I think that said, 'Guys, if Trump wins, then I'm going to have to take down my flags and I won't be able to go outside without being shot for being me. I reported them for election misinformation. Now I'm just waiting to see if I get banned or not. If I don't, that means either nothing happened or the person got shadow banned for like a week or two. WTF is wrong with people. Also, make stickers. I will buy 50 of each. Oh, interesting. I haven't thought about making stickers. Maybe I'll give it some thought. But yeah, that is funny. People like that, they can say whatever they want online, honestly, and they get away with it. It gets promoted by TikTok. But it's people like me that get hit with the censorship and the strikes. I just got one. You guys remember the segment I did making fun of that woman who was saying like, I'm the woke person here to tell you how to not be offensive on Halloween. They took down my video for harassment and bullying, where I disagreed with her take on TikTok. Like, what a joke. Another person wrote, hey Brad, I always love your facial expressions when reacting. Do you think we can say that 2024 was the reality versus delusion election? I wouldn't put it like that, because I think there are people on either side that are in touch with reality, and there are people on either side that are kind of delulu. But I would say it's a middle finger to the media, to the establishment, to all the gaslighting, all the lies. And the American people said, we don't care about all the nonsense and hyperbole. We're just going to vote for this guy and F you all, honestly. That's the message I think that was clearly being sent. Another person said, I was just out at a 7-Eleven and heard a toddler screaming, but mommy, I want it, and proceeding to shriek endlessly. My first thought was, I wonder if Brad Polumbo uploaded part 2 of his election TikTok reactions yet. Can't imagine what made me think of that. Yeah, it's normal for a toddler to scream and melt down when they don't get their way, but grown adults aren't supposed to do it, and especially not record themselves doing it and then post it to the internet. But welcome to 2024, I guess. Another person says, I'm really enjoying wearing my Delulu shirt this week in Washington State, the only state that shifted left this election, and people are going nuts about Trump. The time has never been more right for this shirt. Thank you, Brad. Well, I'm glad you like it. Remember, guys, you can check out the merch. I'll link it in the description. There is going to be a lot of Delulu on display over the next couple weeks as people cope and seethe with this result. And so we can remind them that their Delulu is showing. Another person says, hey, Brad, I'm curious who your dream candidate for president and vice president would be if you could choose. Who do you think would be the best person for the job? Who would you want in their cabinet? And what do you hope they would do? You know, I can't give you that whole list because frankly, there's just not that many people in politics I actually like or trust. One person I've always liked and respected, and I thought he was great when he was in Congress, is former Congressman Justin Amash. He is an independent, libertarian-leaning, conservative, Republican sort of former, and he's a very serious and smart guy with a lot of principles in line with mine, and if I could make somebody president, I think I'd pick him. This person also asked, do you think the country has swung center-right, or is Trump a special case? Do you think the next candidate will be capable of gathering a similar level of support? I was blown away that Trump won the popular vote. It's hard to say, but I'm leaning more towards Trump being a special case, but we'll have to see. Another person said, like always, women just don't know what they want. We don't know what's best for us. It's simple. Not like asking what the Biden administration has done so wrong that it's upset women so much that they prefer Trump winning than voting for the Dems. Yeah, I can tell you're being sarcastic here. They really do imply that women are just stupid and vote against their best interests and must hate themselves, and that's why they vote Republican. Like, maybe y'all need to look in the mirror, ladies of The View, MSNBC, and realize that the problem is you. Another person writes, I appreciate you, Brad. You deserve a high-paying TV show position more than anyone, in my opinion. Thank you. I would love that, but I won't be holding my breath. This person also writes, would you be able to help me understand why the libs are saying Trump will get rid of the Department of Education? I seem to have missed that part during the campaign and the effects of were that to happen. Well, they're saying that because that's what he says he wants to do. He says he wants to shut down the Federal Department of Education, but that's actually a long-time conservative idea that Republicans have supported. It's not something new or radical, and the Department of Education has only existed since 1980. We did have education before that. Most education is handled and provided and funded at the state and local level. The Department of Education just does a lot of one-size-fits-all bureaucracy and regulation, and it's very bloated and wasteful, and that's why Trump wants to get rid of it. There's also actually nothing in the Constitution authorizing the federal government to have a Department of Education in the first place. But even if he were to get rid of it, which he didn't do the first time, so maybe he'll do, but maybe he won't, even if he were, well, most education is funded and handled at the state and local level, so it would just stay there and not that much would change. This person says, I'm pro-Trump even as an immigrant. Can't vote yet, and I'm also not scared. I'm confident he'll go after POS like my cousin that sells substances on the streets, has a history of DV, no real work history, and many convictions and time served on record that he's always been released early for, way before people like me that work hard every day and pay taxes. I hope so, and also, assuming you're a legal immigrant, I don't think you have anything to worry about. Another person writes, since the pastor, in quotes, brought up immigrants, he should realize that illegal immigration will always be used by both sides for votes, so I don't know what the heck he's talking about. Republicans say they'll deport all the illegal immigrants and not much actually happens. Democrats say they'll give them a path to citizenship, and again, nothing happens. It's all for votes. And to be clear, the immigrants coming now are just asking for handouts and are completely different than the vast majority of illegal immigrants I grew up knowing that just came here to work hard, provide for their families, and contribute to the economy like most people do. I don't know, just my 2 cents on what I've noticed over the years. I appreciate your 2 cents and your support. I would say that I think those people who do come here and just want to work hard should be allowed to stay, but we need to secure the border. We can't just have random unknown people pouring into our country. It's clearly got to stop. So I would have some path for the people that are here, unless they're bad, unless they're dangerous or they're doing crimes or they're abusing welfare, then they all got to go. But the ones that are working hard and contributing should be allowed to stay. We should secure our border so this problem stops growing and we don't just have millions more people unverified and unknown coming into our country. That's clearly a terrible idea. Another person says, the mom that's crying and exploiting her children just for clout is freaking terrible. This kind of thing should be a criminal offense. Extreme, yes, but people should not be able to exploit their children on the internet and cause mental anguish for money, especially, but not at all. Plain and simple, it's mental abuse or neglect at the very least. This shouldn't be allowed. I've watched so many videos about channels exploiting their children, and it's so sad, so cruel, so irresponsible, and so evil. Other than that one, these were all very hilarious. Thank you for brightening my day, Brad. You're amazing. Please consider doing a Q&A video about you and your boyfriend so we can get to know you a little. Post in your community tab asking us what we'd like to know, and then pick the ones you don't mind answering and do a video. Love you, Brad. Well, my boyfriend is shy and doesn't like being on camera or having our personal life on display too much. So I don't know if we'll do that, but thank you for your support. And I agree that it's very bad parenting to exploit your kids like this. I'm pretty hesitant to criminalize bad parenting because I don't really trust the government coming in and deciding unless there's like really bright lines that have been crossed, like physical or SA abuse. Then I'm pretty hesitant about that because I think that's a power the government could easily abuse to take kids away from parents who just make decisions that liberals don't like. I would be pretty hesitant about that, but I certainly agree that it's a very, very disturbing thing to see unfolding online. Another person says, hi, educated, single, white woman who voted for Trump here. Appreciated your take on this today, Brad. I think it's incredibly rude, the things they're saying about conservatives. I actually left the left because of just about every video you've shared here today. I've never been more at peace with my decision. God bless Trump and this country. Yeah, I think a lot of people have been driven away from the left by this kind of insanity, and they need to learn that lesson or it's only going to drive more people away. Another person writes, the number of friends I have acting like the world is ending is staggering and hilarious in a sad way at the same time. P.S. Love the videos and your hair. Thank you so much. My hair, if it looks good, it's probably a day that my boyfriend did it before he went to work. Some days I have to do it myself and it doesn't look that good, but anyway, I don't have that many friends who are melting down. I think because I'm in the Midwest here and lots of people are Republicans, and even the ones that are liberals grew up around Republicans or in Republican families. I just don't know that many people who are losing it. If I was in touch with more of my friends from UMass and college, or more of my distant acquaintances from UMass and college, they'd probably be losing their minds right now. Maybe I should look a few of them up for pure entertainment pleasure. All right, everybody. That's it for this episode of the Brad versus Everyone podcast. Thank you so much for tuning in. Please do make sure you're subscribed if you aren't yet. Do hit that like button before you go and do comment with your thoughts. I do take the time to read the comments and I pick a few to respond to in every episode. Plus, if you leave your comment with a super chat or a super thanks, I'll definitely respond to it on tomorrow's show. And with that, have a great weekend.